Summer was hot and dry across most of the central and eastern U.S., and fall so far has not provided much relief. But a storm system is forming right now that will change everything. A wall of cold air is about to race over the country, setting the stage for a very active period of weather. Starting as soon as tomorrow, we can see that wall of cold air approaching from the north, but things are still going to be pretty warm in the south, especially in Louisiana, where temperatures are still going to be in the upper 80s and low 90s. But don't worry, that's not going to last very long at all. Check out this temperature anomaly map, which shows the huge area of cold air racing south out of Canada. This air is going to spread out and settle as far south as the Gulf of Mexico eventually. Early in the morning on Friday, it may get below freezing in parts of Montana and North Dakota. When you wake up in Des Moines or St. Louis, it's going to be in the low 50s, which hasn't happened in a little while. And where these cold temperatures clash into warmer air out east, we are going to see rain and storms. We saw a pretty intense version of this yesterday in Texas and Oklahoma. Over 100 total reports of either hail, wind damage, or tornadoes came into the Storm Prediction Center yesterday as the leading edge of our wall of cold air smashed into parts of the south central U.S. But today we're just looking at some general rain showers and maybe a clap of thunder or two over towards the Appalachian Mountains. This is something you guys are going to want to get used to all across the eastern U.S. as this huge trough decides to settle over the eastern part of the country for the next little while. It's going to dump a ton of rain over the east coast, especially since it looks like Tropical Storm Philippe is going to get pulled up towards it. Not only is this going to bring a ton of rain up here, but it's also going to amplify the cold air invasion on the backside of the storm system. Cooler temperatures will be felt across the vast majority of the central and eastern U.S. on Saturday. And you can see that very clearly here on the temperature anomaly map, where widespread areas will be experiencing 20 to 25 degree below average temperatures throughout the day. And there's still a well-defined wall of cold air along the Appalachian Mountains, but even where it's warmer to the east, these are going to be much cooler temperatures than what we're used to. Highs are only going to be in the 60s around New York City on Saturday, and even in the 70s across the Carolinas. But of course, there's a catch. A lot of these cooler temperatures are going to be aided by rain, especially in New England, where Tropical Storm Philippe may try to make landfall somewhere between Maine and Nova Scotia. This is going to bring very heavy rain and strong winds to a lot of the northeast. However, the closer to Canada you are, the more intense this is going to be. And it looks to me like landfall is going to occur either late in the day on Saturday or very early on Sunday, where our mass of cold air will be getting even more solidified across the east coast. And an impressive ridge of very warm air will be building in the west. So while we're all over here dealing with morning temperatures in the 30s and 40s in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and even parts of Virginia and North Carolina, later in the day across the western U.S., we're going to be having fun in the sun. But this is all being controlled by our huge trough that's stuck over the eastern U.S. And the longer it's over here, the longer the warm air in the west and the central U.S. will be allowed to compile and expand. Until, of course, another huge trough comes in and pushes all that warm air out of the way. It's a cycle. And when that cycle gets going later in October, that's where I start to smell trouble. You see, as we go into early next week, a lot of warmth is going to be building up across the Rocky Mountain region and the central U.S. Even our big cold air containing trough will be letting up a little bit and allowing the warm air to come back across the southern and southeastern U.S. And as we head deeper into fall, it's inevitable that another, more powerful trough will eventually sweep through and push all of this warm air out of the way. When, not if, that happens, I think we're going to have a very seriously active period of severe weather here in the States. In fact, I think we are officially heading into our secondary tornado season, or fall tornado season. Everyone knows about traditional tornado season in the spring. From April through June, there's a huge area that sees a lot of tornadoes. We all know about this. But it seems like a lot of people forget that in the fall, a very similar thing happens because all of these big cold air blasts that come down from Canada. I'm especially interested in this year because all that cold air is going to be clashing with such warm and juicy air down south thanks to our high sea surface temperatures. In fact, here's where I think we're going to have to watch very closely as we head through the rest of October. Anywhere from Kansas to Florida could experience tornadoes, but there's an emphasis on the coastal areas between Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama. This is where those really warm temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are going to be able to interact with the colder shots of air coming down from the north and really cause big problems. And then as we go into November, the area of concern expands a little bit, and it includes the Ohio Valley, but the bulk of the action will still be experienced expected farther south. And even in December, we expect there to be problems with tornadoes in the south central US. So as we head into fall and we all start dreaming about those snowstorms, do not let your guard down. Fall tornado season is very real, and the question you have to ask yourself is, are you prepared for it? I'm prepared for this upcoming fall tornado season, and really any tornado season, even here in the Weather House, which isn't really built for tornadoes. We don't have a basement. We don't have any good interior rooms to take shelter in. In the event of a tornado, we've had to take our safety into our own hands here at the Weather House. And let me show you how we've done that. Just outside of the studio here, we've installed something really cool. Come look at it. Just look at that thing. It's right outside of the studio, literally just steps away. Ours is called the Twister Pod Max, and it's made by Survive a Storm Storm Shelters. And they just happen to be today's sponsor. This is an above-ground tornado shelter that can fit up to 6 people, and it's bolted into the ground. It's engineered to withstand up to EF5 tornado winds of over 250 miles per hour. This bad boy right here is made out of 100% steel, so you don't have to worry about it cracking or crumbling or even leaking. And the peace of mind that our small team has because this thing is here is priceless, and it was super simple to install with the help of an NSSA contractor. I've been searching for quite some time for a storm shelter company to work with, and Survive a Storm is the perfect partner for us because they understand how important it is that everybody has one of these. And I think a lot of you guys watching right now probably didn't even know something like this existed. You thought that if you wanted a tornado shelter, you had to call some company to dig a 20-foot hole and pay $10,000, $20,000 to make this underground bunker thing. No, you don't have to do that. This can sit in your garden, your backyard, your garage, and it can withstand up to an EF5 tornado, which is absolutely incredible. Whether you're at a mobile home, or you're in a house like mine that doesn't have a basement or a good place to take shelter in, this is a great and affordable option. Of course, I've got a link for you down in the description below. Go check out the website, and it would mean a lot to us if you got one from them. You certainly don't want to get stuck in a situation where you wish you would have. Now, as far as exactly when that next big storm is going to come, it's still up in the air. Right now, at this very moment, all of the global models like the Euro and the GFS are pretty inconsistent. So there's not just one storm system to track, but there are multiple little blue blobs that are flying around the northern hemisphere of the Earth, and we're going to have to watch all of them because the farther south they go, each one will carry the very real potential to cause problems. The one that catches my eye the most is this bad boy right here that doesn't come in until like October 16th. This is way too far out to put any stock into right now, but something like this could definitely interact with all the warm air that's going to build up in the central and southern US over the next couple of weeks. Once again, I want to thank Survive a Storm for sponsoring this video. Their storm shelters are awesome, and this is a huge deal for us because we're so excited to be spreading the word about such a life-saving product. Once again, link in the description if you want to get one of those. But that's all the weather info I have for you today. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Goodbye.